All right, guys, welcome back to part 2 of rebuilding my kind of brand new 2026 M2 CS. So in the last part, you guys saw we got all the parts we needed, basically dropped the stuff off for paint, got a new tire, worked on the radiator a little bit, put together some of the front end, and then we did run into a little issue at the very end of the video where we did notice a coolant leak. So this video, we are going to address all the other problems we have, fix that coolant leak, hopefully fix the rest of the exterior. For sure going to go on our first drive in this car. But very first thing we are going to do, so if you guys look over here, we have this door right here. The damage is obviously on this side, so there is a few things missing from the door. We did kind of figure out the problem with the door card, but now we need to finish the exterior of the door. So this mirror was missing, we got that installed in part 1, and now we have this trim right here that's gonna go right here. So this is my first time unwrapping it. This actually came with the car, so we'll see if it's any good. Hopefully it is. The insurance did tape it up, so shout out to them for that. Kind of prevented it from scratches when I was being really a $50 plastic. You guys can do 6 layers on a little trim, but can't give me my headlight or my door card. Come on now. Almost done, guys. So we got the majority of it off right here. It is literally in flawless condition. I have no idea how to install this, but I do think I should probably roll the window down, so we're gonna do that. All right, we just installed that. I'm not gonna lie, that was way easier than expected. It literally just slid on, and I mean, it's on there pretty tight. So we got that part figured out. Now this door is looking good. Next thing we have to do is, all right guys, so after I installed this, I realized, number one, it wasn't sitting right here. It's already fixed. And I also realized I was missing this trim right here. So I had to find this trim. Luckily it was in the trunk of the car as well. So what I just did off camera, I had to pop out the door panel again, took off the mirror, then we installed this, and then reinstalled everything. So now this door is looking perfect. All right guys, so as you can see here, we essentially took off all the screws we needed right there. There was 4 on the top, 2 on the bottom. So now what we're gonna go ahead and do is get this bracket, install this thing, and then let the radiator sit on it. So go ahead and get this done. Hopefully we can do this without taking off the radiator. That would be a lifesaver if we could. I do think we're gonna need to take off the radiator actually. Yeah, no, this radiator definitely needs to come off. That's kind of unfortunate. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna take out these clips for the radiator, get zip ties tied up so they're not leaking, and then we're gonna do this. All right guys, we got the zip ties. We got a bucket, just in case some coolant spills so I don't get it all over my garage floor. But let's see how I wanna do this. This bucket is pretty tall. Okay, honestly, forget the bucket. I'm just gonna literally, I'm gonna see how little coolant we can spill right now. This, and we got coolant all over the floor. That is exactly what I did not want to do, and that is exactly what happened. Oh, I knew I should have placed a bucket underneath there. I literally brought one too. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Oh, I got coolant in my ass now. All right, so we spilled a lot of coolant, and we got coolant all over my butt now. So let's clean this up and do this properly this time. We brushed away, washed off some of the coolant. It's still drying. You kind of see it's green right there. It's definitely gonna have to power wash it. But here's my solution for the next hose. Got this little container, got the radiator in there. We'll pop it out, let all the coolant soak, and then we'll zip tie it up, and then we can install that bracket. All right, there was literally no coolant that came out of that. Oh, there's a little bit. It ain't much at all though. I don't know if that's a good sign, because that could mean there's no coolant going to this hose, or it could just mean that all the coolant already drained and I should have brought the bucket in the first place. Regardless, we got it zip tied up, got the radiator out of the way. Now we can work on this while it's all wet. All right guys, so as you can tell, we got that radiator in, spilled a bunch of coolant, but it is what it is. So next thing we have to do There's a bracket that's missing right here. Essentially what this does is has a few wiring harness on it, holds the headlight, and the main thing is the hood mechanism that opens the hood, sits on it just like this. And then another piece we have to install is this right here, which actually came from insurance. This just sits on the back right there, and it holds the top of the radiators with the holes, which I don't have the rubber mounts, but we'll get some new ones, so let's get this done. All right, guys, so let's screw in this top hood mechanism slash headlight holder. Hand tighten the bolts first. I believe there's only 2 on the top and then a different one right here. So, already tidy. Screw this in. Got that one in all the way. Screw this one in. Got that in all the way. Now, hood mechanism. I actually did this off camera. Put in the other side. It was fully off for some reason. But this just slides in. Which way does it slide in? Actually, I forgot. That, and then there's 2 more screws. So there's one on the top right here, one on the bottom. It's the same exact size, just that T30 right there. So screw that in, got that in, and we got that in. So according to my math, hood should be working now. So let's give it a shot, see if it closes. That didn't sound good. Okay, so the hood is actually fully closed. Now let me test and make sure that the hook flash opens. 1, 2. Let's give it a shot. Moment of truth. Bam. Perfect. The hood opening mechanism works. So let's see what we can do next. All right, guys, so we just came back from BMW. We did get a new shipment in for parts. Let's go ahead and show you guys what we got. The first thing right here is this little metal crash bar. This goes right here, just like that. So that should be easy to install. I got really lucky with this thing. There was nobody selling any used ones of it. I think most of the time people just sell it as a set. So I couldn't find any used ones, but I did get the last one in the country from BMW. So shout out to BMW for that. Next thing that came in, we have this bracket right here. So this bracket, it sits, this is for the passenger side. The car came with the driver's side. Essentially, when there's a radiator bracket right here, this sits on top. Hood latch mechanism goes right here. Headlight sits right here. Air horn sits on this as well. So we got this, and in this box, we actually have the side radiator, the auxiliary radiator holder. As you guys saw in part 1, BMW accidentally sent me the driver's side, which obviously I don't need. So now we have the passenger side, and then per usual, we got a bunch of BMW screws since the car came with no screws. So let's get to work on this thing. All right, guys, so we got that radiator bracket in. Got the screws just hand tightened. So now we got to tighten up all these screws real quick and then install the radiator again. Side auxiliary radiator. Can't really sit on the floor. Got getting my butt covered in coolant again. Tighten this up. 4 on the top, 2 on the bottom. Perfect. All right, so as you guys can see now, my floor is obviously covered in coolant, but we got these in right here, those 4 in right there. So now we have to get the radiator, put it right here. This one goes on the top, and that one right there obviously goes on the bottom. So let's get that done. All right, guys, so next thing we're gonna be doing, we got my little brother in for backup, and essentially we have this crash bar right here, and we're gonna have him screw it in for me. So line up that hole, make sure that fits good, push it in, line up, make sure we line up, put the screw in there first with your hand. Okay, now change your hand, now tighten it in there. You better not mess this up. All the way. Okay. Okay, I'll come do this side right here. Boom, perfect. So now we got this little bar right here put in, and then let's see what else we can do in the car. All right, guys, so I did work on the car a little bit off camera. Kind of got a bit ahead of myself, but didn't do much. Basically smacked on this crash bar or the foam bar right there, as well as this piece right here. Now, next step of business, we have this piece right here. Essentially, the line for the hood latch runs through here. This holds this and this, basically all of it together. Then there is little brackets in here that hold the top of the radiator as well. So let's get this thing put in. All right, guys, so we basically just put this thing in right here. As you can see, we fed the line for the hood latch through it. This little piece, black plastic installed earlier, sits on top of it, just like that. Now, I did notice we are missing pretty much all these screws, other than one that hold it. So we installed that one right there, that's holding it. But now, since I don't have any more parts that I could install, I'm basically gonna sit here on my laptop for the next few hours and just make a list of everything I need to buy. I'm gonna go through everything, double check it, triple check it, make sure that I can place an order for everything today. That way everything comes in as soon as possible and I can finish the rest of the car as soon as possible. Guys, so we just pulled up to the paint shop. We have my engine cover right here that's fully done, as well as my front bumper right here, fully done, painted in the Brooklyn gray. We do have my fender right here. I don't know where the rocker's at, but I'm sure it's right here. All right, guys, so we got all the parts loaded up in the truck. We got the bumper laying across right here. We got the engine cover, and then we got the fender back there and the rocker in the trunk. So let's go home and install these parts. All right, guys, so we got all of our body panels home. We have the front bumper right here. Looks like a perfect paint match. So we're just gonna leave that there. Obviously the bumper's not ready to be put on yet. We're still missing the headlights, a few other things. But if you go right here, we have 3 more parts. We have the fender, which is ready, engine cover, which is ready, and obviously the gas cap, which we use as a paint sample. So we're gonna start with the easiest first. We'll smack on the engine cover and the gas cap, and then we'll do the fender tonight as well. All right, so I think it's easy enough. There wasn't any clips or anything, so I think you literally just line this up with the holes and force it in there. I don't want to force it too hard, break something. You can do this. There you go. Boom. Gas cap is on. Now, moving on to the engine cover. This is extremely easy to do. Obviously, we have to untighten these. I believe I just hand tightened them earlier. Yeah. So just hand tighten that on the other side as well. Hand tighten this off. This off, then the engine cover can get put right on there. So let's get the engine cover. They have some of this stuff right here at the bottom taped up, as well as the M logo right there. So gotta take off. Got that all taken off. Now to smack this thing on, I think you literally just slide it in there. Let's see. I'm gonna do it once it's on the car. It'll be a little bit easier for me, but just literally, boom, just like that. Let's put this in and basically just bend these and slide them in. So we got the paint match engine cover in the car. I'm not gonna lie. This is like a very, very minor thing that I do on all my rebuilds, or at least all the ends that I've rebuilt so far. But I feel like this paint match engine cover just adds so much flavor to the car. Makes the engine bay stand out, even though my engine bay is fully stocked so far. And I mean, it only costs an extra $100 to get a paint match, so like, why not do it? But yeah, we have that on, and that looks really good. I honestly love that. So now we're gonna do the fender. Now actually, before we do the fender, I just realized I have the bumper, it's sitting by itself, and we have all these front grills as well as the logo. So I might as well just put that on the bumper. It's easy, so might as well get it done. All right guys, so we got all these grills in the front bumper, as well as the logo right there at the top. We have the M2 CS, we have this right here, which you got to clean up a little bit, and this actually completely transformed the look of the bumper. I am really liking this CSL style, or the CS style stuff. The only thing I don't like is this stuff is gloss black from factory instead of carbon, so might do a carbon upgrade on that, but for now it'll stay like this. All right guys, so as you can see, my car is lifted up now. We have all the coolant in the car, coolant leak fixed, everything is fixed. Behind me, my battery was on a trickle charger overnight. It was low battery. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna bleed all the coolant through the system, make sure there's no air bubbles, no air inside the entire coolant system. And then we are going to take it for our first spin. All right guys, so in order to bleed the coolant system, it is fully electrical in these newer BMWs. So essentially what you have to do is first put it into accessory mode, which you have to click the start and stop button 3 times. So let's go ahead and do that. Then you have to turn the AC on high heat, lowest volume. So it's just pushing out with one thing. Then you have to depress the gas pedal for 15 seconds until it says the function has started. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. As you guys can see, it says service function started. We also do have a TPMS airbag and a check engine for some reason. Not sure what's up with that, but we'll figure it out. All right guys, so while the coolant is bleeding, we're gonna get a few interior mods. So we have this anti-glare matte screen protector for this screen, because whenever you touch the screen, you can literally see all the fingerprints. So we're gonna go ahead and install this thing. All right, so as you guys can see, service function is finished. I did install this matte screen protector. You can't really tell on camera, but the matte looks so much better, and like you could touch it without any fingerprints, which is fire. But let's take it for its first drive. All right guys, so we're about to give it its very first cold start, set up the camera so you guys can see it and see how this thing sounds. Let's get it started. Okay, so as you guys just heard, this thing literally sounds absolutely insane. I looked under the hood and underneath the car, it's literally just a resonator delete. No downpipes, no nothing, everything is fully stock, but let's take it for its first drive. All right guys, so I'm still in my driveway. As you can see, there's a bunch of errors, and the one thing that's throwing me off is it's still saying the hood is fully opened. When obviously it's closed. I double checked it. I made sure it latched on both ends. So not sure what's up with that, but we're still gonna take it for a spin. Let's give it a little pull in my driveway. Yeah, this thing sounds beautiful, guys. Holy smokes. This error is pissing me off. It says stop carefully, hood open. Right here as well. The hood's obviously not open. I'm not driving with an open hood, but yeah, this thing sounds beautiful, dude. So we officially took the car for its first spin. Obviously, the front end's still not complete, missing a bunch of stuff on it, but This car drives absolutely amazing, guys, and it sounds so good considering it is fully stock. I did notice that rear tire is low PSI as well, but boy, this thing sounds amazing. I actually cannot wait to finish this thing up. Another piece that came in is we have these rubber mounts right here for the side auxiliary radiators. These essentially go right here. You can see this is nice and shaky right now, but you install the mounts. Another bracket goes right here. Once this is installed, these things will no longer move around. So let's go ahead and get that done. All right, guys, so I completely forgot to record the process, but basically we installed these rubber mounts on the top, on the bottoms right here, as well as installed this piece right here, which for some reason was salvaged out by the insurance company. You can see they wrote on it, but seems to be perfectly fine. Now this radiator is sitting and not moving at all. So now we have to go through the rest of the screws and try to figure out where everything belongs. So the next thing we're installing is this adaptive cruise control sensor. And now I do think this is brand new. There's no scratches on it. And it literally came wrapped in like plastic. So shout out to the insurance company for getting me a $5,000 sensor from dealer for brand new. But essentially this goes right here. There's a plug, a screw right there, a screw right there. And on the bottom, this basically just holds around this. So let's get this thing installed. So there's one plug right here. Let's see how this thing plugs in. There's no space in here for this thing to work. For this thing to plug in. Okay, I clipped. We basically worked on the car. There's a few different things that are missing. Tomorrow we have the little brackets coming in for the rocker right there. Once the rocker's on, we can smack on the fender, and then it's just a waiting game. The car is basically done. All we have left is this headlight, and then obviously the front bumper that needs to come in, and that door card. So let's go to BMW and order this door card. All right, guys, so now we've pulled out the M2 CS. We're going to be giving it its very first wash, although it's not complete. The car is disgusting. It's literally covered in dirt everywhere. So we're gonna give it its first wash and see what this paint really looks like. Car is now cleaned. Give it a quick little wash, didn't do anything too crazy. Didn't really do the wheels, just so it's kind of cleaner, because obviously it hasn't been washed since it was crashed. But let me tell you guys, these wheels and this paint look absolutely insane. I didn't realize it's like a metallic gray and it has like an insane shine. But yeah, this thing is coming along nice. All right, guys, so we just got back from BMW. We got these clips that we need for the rocker. They're just literally these green 3 little clips, and the rocker is held on the side with those 3 clips, as well as a few other clips on the inside door card trim panel thing. I don't know what it's called. But basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna smack on the rocker right now. Then we're gonna put on the fender, fill it up with washing fluid, or with the window washing fluid. And then the car is basically done. It's just a waiting game now. We have a headlight coming in next week. Once that headlight's in, we can smack on the bumper, the headlight, and then we'll see. Then we gotta start modding the car. But for now, let's just go ahead, smack on this rocker and see how this looks. All right, guys, so we have the rocker on. As you can see, the gaps here are not necessarily the best, but I do think it'll get better. On the bottom, you essentially have to screw in a bunch of different screws, the underbody panels and whatnot. So we're gonna screw this in. Hopefully this lifts up, then sits perfectly like that. All right, guys, so off camera, I kind of lined up the fender. Obviously it's not screwed in or anything. It's just held on by the clips there on the bottom. You see it's sticking out a pretty decent amount. But now we're gonna basically line this up as good as we can, screw everything in, make sure it's sitting right. All right, so we just screwed in these top bolts. There's a bolt right there, a bolt right there, 2 bolts right there. Now, in order to make the bottom sit right, as you, I don't know if you could tell on camera, this is sticking out a little bit. You basically have to play with the bottom bolts, kind of have to move this side to side. You can see if I push it, the gap gets smaller and whatnot. So now what we're gonna do is take off this wheel, then we'll be able to reach on the inside over there, and there's a few more on the inside that we have to screw in there, and I believe there's also a bolt right there. So let's get this done. All right guys, so we just finished the rocker as well as the fender. These gaps are lining up pretty good. However, I did mess up. I realized for the rocker, this part actually needs to attach to this before it goes on here. So I tried messing with it, can't really get it to clip in. So now we basically have to take off the full rocker again, which luckily is only like 3 screws. Take this part off right here, smack this onto there, and then we should be able to make this sit right. Essentially, we're only missing a few things, starting with number 1. The headlight is still missing, and once that headlight is here, it should be coming tomorrow. Then we can smack on the front bumper, smack on the rest of the wiring harnesses, and the car should be complete. Now, there are a few things that are not on the car yet that you guys can't really see, so let me go ahead and show you guys. Starting with number 1, we have this huge skid plate. So as you guys noticed, when I was doing the oil change, I did mention the skid plate is missing. So we did pick up this skid plate. This is gonna be a pain to put on without a lift, but we need to get it done. Obviously, all the screws were missing as well, so we had to get those from dealer, and those were fairly expensive. They were around $12 per screw, and I believe there was 14 or 18 of them. So this is the main thing we have to get on underneath, and then pretty much all the rest of the underbody panels still need to be put on. So we're gonna probably go ahead, install this, install on all the underbody panels, and then maybe even get to the fender liner today. Might save that for tomorrow, because I do want to make sure the car is complete. The fender liner takes, 5 minutes to put on. So that being said, let's go ahead and jack up the car and get this thing on. So now we got the car jacked up a pretty solid amount. Now I don't want to climb under here and install that without any other supports. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add another jack stand right there, just to make sure the car, if the jack fails, God forbid, the jack stand still got me. So let's go ahead and get that. What's up, Daisy? Daisy, what's going on? All right, guys, now we got the car jacked up with the jack as well as the jack stand. You guys may be wondering why this is taped up. BMW made a really whack design with this interior part that holds pretty much the top of the fender. So essentially what I had to do is I had to plastic weld a piece on the inside. I'm just taping it up, letting it sit for the next 24 hours just like that, just in case. But let's get under the car and install this skid plate. All right, guys, so we're currently underneath the car. Now, a good way to tell where to line this skid plate up, as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3 bolts right there. 1, 2, 3 holes right here. So that's the first way. The second way being, you can see where the oil is changed, and there's a black plastic cover right there. Essentially, that cover needs to sit directly on top of that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna install these screws one by one and see if we can get this done by ourselves. All right, guys, so we just finished installing the skid plate. It was actually extremely easy. Everything went super smooth, fit perfectly. Obviously, it's not a brand new one. You can see there's scuffs on it and whatnot, but for the bottom of the car, so it doesn't matter. Now, we are missing a few more things, some underbody panels, as you can tell. This should all be covered up. There's some stuff missing on that side. And the main thing here is the oil cooler. Now, I did get an aftermarket oil cooler cover for this. Obviously, I don't want to leave this fully exposed. One good rock chip and it busts. So for now, we're just going to put on the rest of the underbody panels, minus the oil cooler one, since we do have to wait to put the front bumper on first. But yeah, let's go ahead and get that done. All right, guys, so we got this passenger side screwed in with the fender and the bumper. It is extremely easy. There's literally just 2 screws right there. Screwed into the brackets, then it holds it all good. So on this side, all we need is the fender liner here, and then obviously the wheel, but we're gonna go ahead and finish the front bumper first. All right, guys, so now we have both sides fully screwed in, sitting perfectly. Now, the only thing left to do is screw in all these bolts at the very top, put on a plastic cover, and that's it. The problem with these bolts is this bumper gap to hood gap is extremely difficult to set. So we're probably gonna spend the next 30 minutes trying to set this gap, make it as good as new. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this done. So we just finished with attempt 1 of setting this bumper gap. As you guys can see, this is terrible. Obviously needs to be pushed in more. This side lines up kind of good, but needs to be pushed in way more all the way around. You could literally see the bolts through there, right here. So now we have to just keep on messing with this, keep on pushing it further and further until it sits right. So let's get this done. So we just finished this up. Didn't take too long. Actually only took around like 20 minutes. But as you guys can see, this gap right here on the front end is basically flawless. I do need to pick up this side a tad bit more, but it looks pretty damn good. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna peel off all the tape right here that we had holding up the paint match reflectors, that stuff. We're gonna take this car to a quick car wash. And then after, I do have to take this to my buddy Misha. So we can basically coat in that headlight. Since it came off a different car, obviously it came off an M2, but the modules are not programmed to this specific VIN number. So he has to program that way this headlight will fully work. So let's go ahead and take this thing there. All right guys, so we just pulled up to my buddy's shop. As you can see, this headlight's working, other side's not working. So we have it connected to an OBD, and then he's gonna program it and do some other things. All right, so as you guys can tell, my 2026 M2 CS is finally complete. The entire front end is fixed up. Interior's all good to go. This car is now 100% back to what you would get it like if you were getting it from dealer. Got all the headlights in, everything's programmed, everything's working, all good.